It's getting close to time for you to leave. I believe Brad's already left.
Yeah, Tony, Brad's left yesterday night, so he would have probably arrived now, and he'll arrive, he leaves on Friday, then arrives on Friday because of the time difference. And then I leave Monday night. So, yeah, another journey about to commence.
That's something that we've talked a lot about off camera, but about the disruptions and things. This is another one. Like normally, Brad wouldn't have left before Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, just wants to. In these particular times, with so much up in the air, it's best to get there early and have a little bit of leeway for any problems you have with travel, airports, whatever it may be. You've built in a little bit of extra time there that you can deal with those problems. So that's just something that Brad thought he thought was like a really poignant thing for him to do, and good on him. Like he struggled all this time. Like you don't want anything to go wrong at the last minute.
Well, normally you would have had a spider on Sunday. So is there still training for him to do over there, or did you bring the training earlier and there'll be a longer period from that last hit out?
Yeah, no, you picked it right. With the key workouts that we wanted Brad to complete, that he would normally complete if he was still in New Zealand, we pushed those forward to earlier in the week. And so when he gets there, he essentially just gets a little bit longer to kind of rest and taper a little bit. So yeah, he's done the important workouts like the spider, etc. So he's got those out of the way in New Zealand while he's got the training partners. He'll go over there, and then Frankie and Dan, they'll kind of look after him there and keep him company and give him whatever he needs up until I get there on Monday. So yeah, that's the plan.
Last time you talked a little bit about the fight itself. You've had even more time now to have a look at his opponent. How can you see it working out? Have you got, you had to adjust anything from last time we spoke a fortnight ago?
No, not really. You know, all my due diligence is done. I haven't really seen anything else that's kind of worth kind of changing anything. But yeah, this is honestly one of the more difficult fights I've it's one of the more difficult fights I've sent one of the boys into. Yeah, whereas I felt like with Dover and some of the other opponents, I felt like we had a really good plan. I feel like we have a good plan in this, but I feel like this guy has a lot of, there's a lot that he can do to kind of stifle those plans and send us on a different route. So I think this is this is a fight where the corner will have to be very sharp, because there might have to be some tactical changes we have to make on the fly, and so the corner has to be having just as sharp a night as Brad has to have, I think, to get this over the line.
Last time I spoke to Brad, he was going to be taking Marissa. Is that still the case? Is he going to go over and stay there?
Yeah, well now, look, now Brad gets to come home straight away. And he has got home quarantine. He was in the 150 people, business people that got the placings to stay at home and do their quarantine at home. So there's no real reason, he's not going to be stuck overseas. He's going to essentially, we are now going to be able to get home faster than we ever have been in the last 2 years, which is almost immediately. And then we're going to have to do a quarantine half as long as what we've been doing, and at home, which really makes all the difference. So there's just no need for it, you know. Like, and you know, to be fair, with the up and coming dates that the government's kind of proposed, you can see that those dates line themselves up perfectly to the point where there's going to be no real need for us to even go overseas. Which was, you know, I mean, that was our best case scenario for us. we have mentioned many times that if we were forced to go overseas, we would have to do what we need to do to keep supporting these guys' fight careers, keep supporting these guys' families and such. But as it turns out, with the indications that the government's given us, we won't need to do that. So, and that's the best case scenario we could have hoped for. So for now, I'm a very happy man, because I certainly didn't want to base myself overseas. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for everybody that supported us and supported athletes and people coming home who were stuck overseas, and ultimately, you know, and thanks to the government for making some decisions a little bit more hastily than they have in the past.
Where does that leave Dan? Because he has already shifted everything over there. Is he going to stay or come?
Well, Dan was essentially in limbo, and he was in limbo because the team was in limbo. And now we have dates that we can get home, and now we know that we'll be able to leave the country and come back and forth in and out of the country freely. There's just no need to be overseas. And so Dan had family were over there, but they were in limbo. They knew that they weren't necessarily staying over there. Dan's got a voucher to come home, so Dan will be coming home early January, I think, 1st or the 3rd. Jenna's got a voucher. Michelle Montague's got a voucher. Kai, who's only just got a voucher, so he has got a date to come home as well now. So everybody that was stranded overseas is now coming home, and that's because the country's starting to come to some sort of normalcy again in terms of international travel and our citizens having access in and out of our country again. That's all coming back to normal a little bit more hastily than we ever anticipated. So there's just no need for them guys to come home. You got to that was a massive decision that we were never going to hastily make. We were going to consider everything, and we were going to look at the landscape, and we were ready to leave at the drop of a hat. But we were also, if we didn't need to, we were also prepared to be like, no, look, there's no need for us to go through this rigmarole of having to move. This is, we would have done what we needed to do, but it would have been regrettable. I mean, you're talking about uplifting, 8 guys from a team of 35 people, and one or more of the coaches, myself or one of the other coaches. That just would have been a terrible thing. It would have eventually meant splitting the team. And that's the thing. And that's, our team is not the 8 guys that fight in America. Our team, arguably more importantly, our team is a whole nother group of guys that are trying to get where those guys are. They are just as important as them, and they were a big consideration in us going overseas, and they are one of the biggest reasons why it was would have been very difficult for us to move our team and leave half our team here without those key members of the team pushing them for the next, however long. So, I'm super thankful, and I'm glad that we don't have to go anywhere.
You mentioned Kai because he fights a week after Brad. When does he leave?
He leaves next Friday, so he will arrive in time for Brad's fight. And he's in the best shape of his life. He's ready to go. So he could start to taper now, to be honest. He will still keep his regimen up this week, just so he stays sharp. But he's effectively done. His understanding and comprehension of the game plan is as good as it's ever been. So I would be happy for him to fight this weekend if he could, with Brad. That would be ideal, but I unfortunately still don't have a voucher for Kai's fight. So I will have to come home at this stage, but I'm still trying. I'm still trying to exhaust other avenues. So I haven't given up quite yet on being able to stay for Kai's fight.
That'd be a shame to go all that way and miss out by a few days.
Yeah. It's just the way, just how it just, yeah, it's just unfortunate kind of circumstances that date to get back for that home isolation. The only date I could get that ends, like on the Wednesday or the Thursday before Kai's fight. But we'll see if I can get another voucher.
Well, it's close to Christmas, but not that close, because when you get back, there is one more show here in New Zealand.
Yeah, amazingly, through all of this, and all credit to all the promoters, but Matt Toa has shifted the calendar and shifted the date so he can still fit his show on, and he's been very accommodating to the Auckland guys, all the people coming from, the North Island, but he's moving his date to the 18th, which is the closest show to Christmas that I've ever heard of in a lot of years. But he's done that because that's after the date that you will effectively be able to leave the Auckland borders freely if you're double vaxxed. So he actually had it the weekend before, which means he would have had to apply for exemptions, and that was a big rigmarole, and he was having great trouble doing that. So he pushed it back a week and got all the different fighters and all the different coaches and managers and gyms to kind of agree to pushing it back a week to accommodate us wonderful Aucklanders and whoever else is travelling down. So amazingly, some guys are still going to get some fights off in 2021. I mean, 2021 in terms of the local fight scene has been a little bit of a year to forget, because there's been so many cancellations and it's been so hard for promoters, but I like how we can finish the year on a bit of a high down in the wonderful city of Dunedin. I got Sam Hill, Jason and Lawrence fighting down there, so yeah, it'd be good to finish on that note with a fight show, with the last remnants of what's been a pretty average year in terms of the fight calendar.
Oh, it'd be good to see those boys in action. They're all promising up-and-coming fighters.
Yeah, absolutely. And they've been pushing themselves through this pandemic, through this lockdown, to stay fit. It's been a very tough challenge for them. So, can't thank Matt Toa enough and XFC down there for just shifting the dates a little bit to accommodate them, because they've been working pretty hard. Yeah.
Hey, all the best over in the States, and we'll see you when you get back.
Yep. No, thank you, and thank you to everybody. Tune in, and we'll provide some entertainment.